It Takes Balls is brought to you by our new sponsor, D's Nuts. Yes, you heard that right. If you've never heard of them, check them out at grabdsnuts.com. But warning, these are not your grandparents' peanuts. D's Nuts has really shaken up the nut game. They're gourmet, fun, and packed with flavor. Whether you're a fan of savory flavors like ranch, sriracha, or hot cheddar, spicy like ghost pepper, or if you have a sweet tooth like me, you'll like the banana pudding. D's Nuts has something for everyone. But D's Nuts aren't just about taste, they're about making a difference. For every bag, can, or piece of D's Nuts merch purchased using the coupon code NUTCHECK on grabdsnuts.com, you can save 10%, and another 10% gets donated towards supporting Testicular Cancer Awareness Foundation. So the next time you're craving a snack that's both delicious and meaningful, reach for D's Nuts. Because when it comes to supporting Testicular Cancer Awareness Foundation, it takes balls and it takes D's Nuts. Available at grabdsnuts.com, Amazon, and Walmart locations nationwide. D's Nuts, a delicious, healthy snack in a variety of fun flavors and making a difference one nut at a time. The stories shared on It Takes Balls are unique to the individual sharing. Always speak with your trusted medical provider for treatment options specific to you. Welcome back to It Takes Balls, presented by Testicular Cancer Awareness Foundation. Today I'm joined by a testicular cancer survivor from Ohio. Austin Weimer is joining me today. Austin, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So, as I mentioned, you're a testicular cancer survivor, but before we get into that, tell me a little bit about, who you are.
Yeah, so I'm 29. I'm an ophthalmology tech. Golf is pretty much my big hobby. So, seasonal depression's about to kick in, unfortunately. Other than that, I really don't have a lot going on. I'm a super outgoing guy, and I wish I had more to say about myself, but that's about it.
That's great. Yeah. I hope you're going to make it down here to Virginia Beach for the Tee Off for Testicular Cancer Tournament in April.
There's a golf tournament?
Yeah, I'm organizing it down here where I live.
When is it again?
It's going to be April 18th, 2025 in Norfolk, Virginia. I'll send you the details.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So yeah, let's talk about your testicular cancer story. You were diagnosed, you said you're 29 now. You were diagnosed when you were 28, right?
Yeah. It'll be in 2 weeks, it'll be a year that I initially found the lump.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, talk about your experience finding that lump. Was testicular cancer something that you had ever known about before it happened to you?
Besides Lance Armstrong, I've never heard of anybody else having it. And I just woke up one morning and it kind of felt like it was a weird feeling. It kind of felt like my bowels were off, to be honest. And, as the day went on, I remember I was on Christmas shopping and every single time I walked, it was like my thigh would just hit a specific area down there. And I remember having to leave and I went home and, I just knew something wasn't right. And I actually called my dad. And, as any guy has trouble with, talking about that area down there, I called him and told him I was having some troubles and we were making jokes about it. Didn't think it was anything serious. And we went to the urgent care and it pretty much went full force from there.
Yeah. Well, hey, good on you for, talking about it when it first happened and getting seen.
Yeah, it was, when I went in there to the urgent care, testicular cancer wasn't even a thought in my mind. I thought that it could have been 100 different things, besides that.
And how soon after that urgent care visit were you diagnosed with testicular cancer specifically?
Yeah, so that's when, things get a little tricky. My urologist, in hindsight, wasn't really the most qualified urologist, unfortunately. And I go to see him and he kind of, my mass was only 0.8 by 0.9 by 1 centimeter. So it was really, really tiny. And, he kind of brushed it off a little. I got my AFP marker taken, which was normal. My tumor marker has been normal the whole time. And I got that taken. And, I'm still kind of oblivious to everything about testicular cancer at this point. Haven't done a whole lot of research on it or anything. And, I go in there, and this is like December 15th of this time. November 18th is when I found the lump. And he's kind of just, I was like, there's other tumor markers that should be tested, right? And he's like, do you want me to test them? And I kind of thought that, that was a weird question to ask. Um, and I did get them tested, and they all came back normal. And Christmas time was coming around, and he wanted to do a repeat ultrasound because he wasn't convinced, because of how small it was, that it was testicular cancer, even though it was a hypoechoic lesion. So Christmas time comes around, I get another ultrasound, and it's pretty much stayed the same dimensions or whatever. And he's like, well, we should go ahead and take it out just to be sure that it is or isn't cancer. And I was supposed to have my surgery January 2nd, and it ended up getting pushed back to January 16th. So it's been like almost 9 weeks since I was initially like found the lump, and I went in right away to the urgent care. So, I did what I was supposed to. So it kind of upset me that he, and I come to find out because my friend is his nurse, and I was his first testicular cancer patient that he's ever seen him have. So,
Wow.
I wish I maybe would have went to somebody else. I don't think that it would have really changed the outcome of everything that I've had to do. At least I'd like to know, or to think that it wouldn't have changed anything. But, sometimes I wonder about that.
Yeah, and you mentioned like you asked for the tumor markers, and I know that we first started talking on Reddit. When did you get on Reddit, and is that where you learned about those tumor markers to ask about?
No, I actually just did just a bunch of Googling, and it wasn't until like maybe the beginning of February that I found the Reddit page, and it's been super helpful. There's been a lot of guys on there. That Charlie Parkhorse, I see him on there a lot. He answered a lot of my questions, and there's a few other guys that I still keep in contact that I keep in contact with now, just to see how they're doing. But
Yeah.
it's definitely helped a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So you had, you finally got your orchiectomy on January 16th of this year,
Hmm.
2024.
Yeah, and then we confirmed that it was pure embryonal carcinoma, which, from what I know, is like a pretty rare thing for it to be in the pure form. And they referred me to Indiana University, which is only like an hour and a half away from me, which, I'd done a lot of research on Indiana, so I was glad that I was going there. And I had a CT scan done right before my orchiectomy, and it said that I had like a point 0.8 millimeter node, like a prominent node. Well, I get referred to see Dr. Masterson, and I see him pretty quickly, and he sits you down and he shows you the CT scan and goes through the dimensions of everything. And it turns out it was actually like 1.1 or 1.2 millimeters. I don't know if he looked at it like in the wide range instead of the long range, which I didn't know about.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically gave me the option of um, the 3-BEP or the RPLND. And I wanted to do everything in my power to avoid chemo until absolutely necessary. So I decided to do that surgery with him. I had that done on February 20th of this year. And, uh, a couple days after the surgery, I see it pop up on my, the pathology pop up on my chart. And, I have to look at it. I can't wait for the doctor to tell me I'm one of those people. And unfortunately, I saw that they took 35 nodes out, and 10 of them came back positive for cancer, which is, a lot more than they would have liked. So unfortunately, my journey wasn't over yet, and I had to make the decision on whether to do the adjuvant chemotherapy or to roll the dice on surveillance. And the numbers just weren't good enough for me to be able to do surveillance. And I thought that it would have potentially wasted the surgery if I would have had to do like 3 bet anyways. So I talked to Dr. Masterson, I talked to Dr. Einhorn and Dr. Salus. Just wanted to get as much information as I could before I made my decision. And I decided to go and do the 2 EP here with my local oncologist. And I had such a hard time with chemo. I think based on what everybody says on the Reddit page, I seem to have taken it a lot worse than what a lot of people do. And um, I lost like 40 pounds, 35, 40 pounds. And losing your hair definitely isn't fun. I think that's kind of when it sank in. I didn't really feel like a cancer patient until I lost my hair.
Mm-hmm.
And um, since then, I pretty much feel 100%. I've got all my 6 month scans done with Dr. Einhorn a month or two ago, and everything came out clear. And life is somewhat back to normal.
Yeah, let's go back to, we'll walk through that, and I'll ask deeper questions for each. So the RPLND, I mean, Dr. Masterson is like one of the best in the game. So how was your recovery from that primary RPLND that you had?
Yeah, and honestly, after the first week and a half, it wasn't that terrible. I was 3 weeks out. I was swinging the golf club with my friends, which he got a little upset with me about, which I don't blame him. But I was just dying to just get out and just do anything. So yeah, the recovery honestly wasn't that terrible. I would definitely take that 100 times over before I did chemo again.
Yeah. And then, so how long was it again between, your recovery from the RPLND and then when you started chemo?
I started chemo April 1st and I had my RPLND February 20th.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. All right. So in that time, were you getting scans at all or blood work, or what was that period between February 20th and April like?
hmm So I went and saw Dr. Salus, which he's one of the oncologists over at Indiana University. He works under Dr. Einhorn, or with Dr. Einhorn, I should say. And we did scans to make sure that there wasn't anything going on, that I was cleared to do adjuvant chemotherapy. And we did a blood work a few times. And that was pretty much all that I did before I did chemotherapy.
Yeah. What was your support system like through all of your treatment?
Um, yeah, my work, they FaceTime me every Monday or every other day or whatever while I was getting my infusions, which I really enjoyed. I feel like I like to think I'm pretty close with the girls that I work with. Um, my aunt, my grandma, they came with me the first day, which I really didn't want anybody around me during that time because I'm the type of person that I feel like if you're around me, I have to almost entertain you, and I can't help but to feel that way. And I just didn't want to have that burden, and people just being around me while I was that way and just feeling sick. I kind of just wanted to tough it out on my own. Um, but if I needed anything, there was plenty of people that definitely would have been there for me, which was nice.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective, to kind of want to isolate, to not have to entertain anybody. I haven't heard that one before, but I definitely can understand that and see how that would be true.
Yeah, I just like to handle things on my own, I guess, and just seclude myself a little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, secluding yourself, but I know you are, active on the Reddit. Did you find that kind of was a good release for you, having that online community rather than having to entertain people in person?
And just like it's such a rare cancer too that it's nice to just know that there's other people. Well, I wouldn't say that it's nice to know that other people are going what you're going through, um, but to just have people that kind of understood what I was going through, I should say. Um, And like I said, there's plenty of people on there like that. There was a guy that started chemo the same day that I did, and just to say, hey, what are your symptoms like today? Like this is what's going on with me, and just kind of going back and forth that way. It was nice.
Let's talk about your symptoms during chemo. I know you mentioned you lost your hair. Did you have any like extreme nausea? You did say it was like really, it hit you harder than it seems like it hit most people.
Yeah, the nausea was by far the worst part, and I mean, throwing up 15 times a day. It's like once I started, I couldn't stop no matter what anti-nausea medicine they put me on. And I was taking that stuff religiously. And for whatever reason, it didn't help me. Other than that, like it honestly wasn't unbearable, but that, throwing up that many times a day for that long will make anybody feel awful.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that you're an ophthalmology tech, so you're always looking at eyeballs. How do you feel the recognition is for like testicular cancer and balls? Now that you're a testicular cancer survivor.
I definitely don't think that it gets the recognition that it should. Um, Partially because how little cases there are, like less than 10,000 cases all across the US compared to like 400,000 plus with breast cancer. So breast cancer definitely gets a whole lot of um, uh, publicity, I guess. And, like we had a fundraiser for breast cancer, pay $5 to wear jeans at my work not too long ago. And I think to see stuff like that, which is great. It's great that we do things for breast cancer and any other cancer, but I think testicular cancer, partially because we're guys, like it doesn't get a whole lot of recognition, unfortunately, and we're kind of looked upon to just keep trucking through life, and um, it's a sucky feeling, but it's something that we're used to.
Yeah, maybe there's an opportunity for you at your office to do something for April, like, we checked your eyeballs, now check your other balls or something like that.
Yeah, I definitely the few guys that I have worked with when this first started happening to me, I I go up to them. I'm like, hey, if nobody's told you to do self checks, like I'm telling you now to do them because nobody ever told me growing up.
Yeah. Um, do you feel, I mean, I know we've talked about toughing it out and stuff. Do you feel that there's anything that like, do you feel that you wish you could get something off your chest to somebody, or do you feel that you're pretty mentally tough and you're handling it well? Does that make sense? Is that a fair question?
Um, I think that there's some days that I wish that I could get things off my chest, but it's also um not really in my nature, I guess. Like, because it's like who's gonna really care about what I have to say? I think, and that's unfortunate that I feel that way, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Reddit is a great place. And if you're on Facebook, I encourage you to join our support group on there as well. Are you on Facebook?
Hmm.
We'll definitely join that if you're not already in there.
Okay, yeah, I will.
How has it been mentally, now that you're getting your scans and you just had your 6 month scans, do you get the anxiety or anything like that?
Yeah, this last scan that I had, it definitely took a toll on me, like a week and a half before, because it was the first time, and pretty much the whole year that I wasn't actively getting any kind of treatment done. So in my mind, it was like, since I'm not doing anything to prevent it, there's obviously a greater likelihood of it coming back, which is just logically speaking not true at all. That's the whole reason why I did the adjuvant chemotherapy, which Dr. Einhorn quoted me like a 3-4% chance of it coming back, which you can't really beat those odds, um, but unfortunately that doesn't help me much mentally. And I think it's also because it's so fresh still. Like it's not even technically been a year yet. So maybe with time, I'll get less skin anxiety. But as of right now, um, and it's the fear of, I finally got my life back together. It's somewhat normal now, and just to have it all potentially reverse, it's a scary thought.
Having your life back ahead of you, what impact, if any, does testicular cancer have on like your outlook on life?
I try not to take any day for granted, and I know that sounds super cheesy, but getting cancer this young, I don't want to say it's a blessing, really, but in a way, it kind of opens your eyes to like, hey, life can end real quick. And I want to say that I haven't had a terrible day since, I've been in the clear. I've had some days that are better than others, but overall, I'm just happy to be here. And like I said, that sounds cheesy, but it's honestly the truth. And, you want to think about how you would live your life if you had to deal with something like this, but when it actually happens, like you're not prepared for what it does to you mentally.
Yeah. What advice would you have for somebody who maybe found this podcast because they found a lump and they were Googling their symptoms?
I would I would say I don't blame you for Googling, and I would just try to do as much research as you can because things are going to move quick, um, and you want to be as informed as you can and ask the right questions because that's exactly how I was when I went to Indiana. I made sure that I knew all the likely possibilities, and I wanted to understand everything Dr. Masterson was was telling me, and I didn't want to have any doubts about anything.
Where can people find you if they want to reach out to you and share their journey and learn more about yours?
Obviously, the Reddit page. I think my name is Optimal Ant on there, something cheesy. I don't even know if you can change your name. I've just never bothered doing it. Um, and just, I mainly use Facebook, I guess. I'm not like a huge social media guy, but just Austin Weimer on Facebook. Um, I don't think that there's too many of us out there in the world. Uh, I'm obviously the one with the red hair, so.
Yeah, I'm jealous of you not being a huge social media guy. I think it's like very addicting. But Austin, thank you so much for being on It Takes Balls.
Thank you for having me.
For more information and resources for your testicular cancer journey, visit testicularcancerawarenessfoundation.org. You can also follow us on social media at Testis Cancer. We're on Facebook at Testicular Cancer Awareness Foundation.